What's up, SEO pros? We're back here with Ted Kubitis, the creator of Quora. We are on part two of Let's Rank for White Hat SEO. Ted's going to explain some things to us around Quora that I had some questions with, and I know some of you guys thought I was a total noob with Quora. Somebody made a post and said, contact Ted next time before you use Quora and don't look like a noob. But I guess we can't go back. So,
Well,
anyways, what was
I
that?
I I wouldn't worry about that too much. Like Cora is a very technical SEO tool, and so it takes time to learn how to use it and to learn how to read the data. So, like right here on the SEO tuning roadmap, those LI tag matches at the top is suspicious. So, what I like to do is I like to highlight the things that kind of tell a story. So I would highlight the LI tag matches, make that like a yellow background or something. And then over in column C, I'd write a note, and specifically for that, I'd question navigation tuning, because usually LI tags are used with jQuery menu navigation. And
Yeah.
so when you see a big number like 156 more, they don't have a bullet list of 156 things on their page, most likely. They probably have a large navigation that's very keyword rich. And so you'd want to
Oh.
look at your navigation to see if you can make your navigation, larger or more keyword tuned.
Oh, see, that was the first question I was going to ask you, Ted. Hold on, let me make sure I'm in presenter so this isn't a small screen for people. One second. There we go. Press that. Yeah, so when I was going in here, I was like, what the hell? There's 156 LI tag matches. And so that would make more sense. Although, one of the things that I did, and this might seem ridiculous, and I think it might have worked, because just to give you guys an update, the page is now ranking on the first page for. Oh, this is lagging right now. Hold on. But there was an opportunity where I was actually able to add a bunch of LI tag matches because I showed an example of what an SEO audit looks like that I do like on tip number 40, and it's just like a huge list of things during an audit, and I just LI tagged all of those. Um, so I don't know if that helped, but
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I mean that can do it too. But having 156 things in your list, that's a pretty big list.
yeah. So that's probably why. So that probably has to do. See, like that's why I think it's good to have you explain these things, Ted.
Yeah, and it could be a combination of things. Like they might have a mega menu, they might have a large navigation. Uh,
But do
Sometimes
menus show up
LI,
in LI tags?
yeah, yeah, a lot of those things are developed with LI tags. Your footer links are often LI tags. If you have an online store, your product tokens might be LI tags. In which case, if you're just like 40 behind, look at your competitors. Maybe they're showing more products per page. And all you have to do is increase the number of products you show per page. So there might be quick fixes to some of those LI tag use cases.
Right. Okay. And then I was going to ask you for the LI tag matches. That's probably you're basing this off like the different LSI keywords, right? That you're seeing.
No, the matches are specifically the match words referenced in the overview tab. So if you
Uh,
go to overview, all of those match words, that's what Google called out as relevant hits for your search term. So we're talking about any combination of those.
okay, so that just has to be matched in like the menu 156 more times. That seems pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it is pretty gnarly. So you'd want to probably go look at your competitors and see what they're doing to get that number. Um,
Because a lot of them, if we look, so this is the deficit, right? Zero for him.
yeah, so it's going against what the page one average.
So if I
So
look at the page one, then theoretically they should have like 156 LIs in here, LI matches, right?
yeah, with those words on average.
But it wouldn't be on this page. God, this is so
Yeah.
slow. I'm
It
like,
So you may have to expand your data in the output to see all of the top 10 results because there could also be an outlier.
right. Okay. Oh, this is the wrong page. Um, okay, well, let's just move on from there.
Okay. Let's go back to the roadmap. So number of images is interesting.
So I added all of the images in here. Uh, oh wait, where the hell did it go? Is it on this page? No, it was over here. Um, it's because I'm running core on the background. SEO. Um, yeah, I added a bunch more images in there, and oops. And when we see the result of the next one, I should have ran this beforehand. Once this is done, it should say that a lot of these are complete. That's why I wanted to compare these side by side so we could look at them.
Okay.
Um, but I mean that one's pretty obvious, right?
Yep. So more images. Let's look. We'll skip a few. We'll go to the easy ones first. So those H1 to H3 tag leading matches. So it wants you to have a match word at the beginning of a heading in one of your H1 to H3s.
Oh, that's what leading matches means.
Yeah, at the beginning of the heading. So
So it says add 0.1 more though. What does that mean?
because it's looking at the page one average, and so if you want to be above average, you need to have at least one.
Okay, so it rounds up.
Well, yeah, to actually have a match, you would be at one. What it's telling you is that one of the page one sites has a leading match.
Hmm.
So,
Okay, interesting. All right.
all right, meta description length. You have room to put more
Is this based off
competitively.
the 300 limit now, or is it
No, it's
just?
based off of what your competition is doing.
Oh, that's cool.
The number of images with alt text. So that 52 more or 53 more images, most of those need alt text.
Okay, but not all of them. I mean, you would
Yeah.
just want to put those in there as good practice, though, wouldn't
Now,
you?
now note that this factor, it's not saying alt text matches. It's just saying images with alt text.
Right. Okay.
So the alt text can be honest and genuine about those images. It just needs to be present.
Right.
uh, P tag matches. So you should be marking up your paragraphs and your long form content, and that should solve itself if you're not already doing that.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, well, aren't shouldn't they
So,
already be in tags?
well, that's the idea. So if your content isn't, if your long form content isn't in paragraph tags, put it in paragraph tags and that should be solved. If it is already in paragraph tags, then it's telling you you need to use more of your match words in your content.
Okay.
So in those paragraph tags specifically.
And this doesn't have to do again with the LSI variations, just the main
Yeah, just
match.
the match words. Yep.
Okay.
All right. And then the sentence matches. So
Wait,
once.
can I ask one more question about that? Does that have to do with keyword density, like the amount of words you have on the page, or does that just have to do with just the amount of time people are using it? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
it's telling you that your higher ranking competitors are using the match words more frequently in their paragraphs than you are.
but I mean, like you couldn't use the p tag matches 128 times if you had like only 500 words of text.
Well, keep in mind that in a single p tag, you could have a whole lot of match word counts. So if you have a nice long paragraph that's keyword rich, you could get 20, 30 matches in one paragraph tag. So it's
Oh,
possible.
I see what you're saying because each one is a match. Like, so if you had
Yeah.
white hat SEO, then it would be like one would be white, one would be hat, one would be white hat SEO, one would be white hat, and then you would get like five out of that.
Yeah, so this isn't telling you to add 128 p tags. It's saying that you need to have your match words occur 128 times. It could be in a single p tag. Now that might be ridiculous, but
Right.
it doesn't have to be 128 p tags.
Gotcha.
So sentence matches. So it's telling you you need 35 more match words within sentences. So that's interesting. So that's telling you something. So a bit bit more long form content, maybe, or you just need to use your terms more efficiently within the content you already have.
I don't understand what the difference between that and p tag matches is. Isn't it like the same thing?
Well, a sentence has a specific format. So it's multi-word, starts with a capital letter, uses punctuation.
Where
Uh,
this one just could be put anywhere.
yeah, p tags could have more embedded HTML, could, you know, be in different zones of the page.
Right.
So,
Okay.
um, and it wants you to use your exact target search term 3 more times in headings.
Uh, okay, gotcha.
So not 300 times, 3.
Right.
So the match words you tend to use a lot, but your exact target search term you use much less frequently. You tend to sprinkle that in instead of going overkill.
Okay. And it doesn't
Uh,
matter if it's an H1 or an H2 or H3.
yeah, so this is just looking throughout all headings, so H1 through H6.
Gotcha.
LI tag exact matches, so one more of those. So an exact match could be any of your match words, but the LI tag, the whole content of it exactly equals that match word. So from the open LI tag to the close LI tag, the entire contents of that exactly equals one of the match words.
So
So
you're basically having a list item with only that once in it.
yes.
Okay, got it.
And people get confused by that because they're like, exact match. Doesn't that mean my search term? No, it means the entire content of the tag being measured exactly equals one of the match word variants.
Okay.
Um, let's see. HTML tag matches. This one is the analog for your overall degree of keyword stuffing because the HTML tag is the whole document, including the head and the body. So it's telling you within the head and the body, you need to use your match words 89 more times.
So that means like, wait,
So,
and the body?
yep,
Okay, so that will probably get fixed when you start taking care of this stuff right here, right?
exactly. So by fixing some of these, you'll probably get a couple birds with one stone.
Okay, gotcha.
Percentage of no follow internal links. That seems pretty minor. Um,
Yeah, I saw a lot of these like no follow links. Like, I mean, that's kind of interesting. 35.
yeah, and keep in mind this isn't coming to the page. This is what's on your page pointed outward.
Oh, this is I thought you meant like external. So you're saying like external no or pointing externally with no follow links to other.
Yeah, yeah, on your page pointing to other pages, either externally or other pages on your site.
So these could be internal links as well.
Yes.
But they do they have to be no follow?
Well, that's the idea. They're saying that your competitors are using more no follow links on their pages, and it was apparently correlating with rankings, and you have a deficit.
Interesting.
So, and we have seen no follow links correlate quite commonly with rankings. And I believe SIA's single variable testing showed that no follow links do help you rank. Like every time they did a single variable test, the test case always went up. So there is something being passed with no follow links, so they do have some value, it would appear.
That's interesting. Even if you're just pointing them out.
Yeah, yeah. And so in this case, this correlates with rankings. So if you can do it, you know, if it's reasonable to make it happen and it correlates with rankings and it's not too much work to do it, then why not? Let's just knock down all the factors that correlate with ranking, and some of them are going to be causal.
Right. Okay.
Let's see. Has Meta robots? That one. Some of these are interesting, like has Meta robots. What I've found in the past is there's this new technology bonus that I would see. So years ago, when like iPhones just came out, uh, our website was one of the first online retail websites to add uh, the Apple Touch icon to our HTML. And after we did that site wide, we saw a little boost across everything. And we were like, holy cow, this Apple Touch icon gave us a ranking boost. I put it in the realm of like really stupid stuff that just works. And about, maybe 2 months later, it stopped having the benefit. And the same thing happened when HTML5 came out. We jumped to HTML5 right away, and for 4 to 6 weeks, we had this ranking boost, and then it kind of went away. And so my theory on it wasn't a huge boost, but it was measurable. My theory on it is that Google has a training set for web spam, and anything that makes you a bit more different than their web spam training set gives you advantage.
Hmm.
So staying current on these modern technologies is beneficial because their entire training set of spammy websites aren't doing those new things.
Right.
Now, once they start doing those new things, then you lose the benefit. And once everybody has the same advantage, once everybody has an Apple Touch icon, then everybody has the same bonus. So that's not advantage anymore. That's parity.
Hmm.
So it could be that the meta robots for your niche is giving you advantage in a similar term.
That's weird. Okay. Well, what about this Google result publish date? Add 47 million more.
That's a long value of the date. I gotta fix that bug.
Okay.
It just means that there's a publish date in the Google result, and you probably if you're showing a publish date for your content, you probably want to update the page so you get a more fresh date in there.
Okay. I mean, I can assume all this other stuff too, like has comment CTA, add one more, right? Because that's, or is that
Uh,
two?
so add one more because it's fractional. It's
Right.
looking at the page one average. So that's the leave a comment part. So it sounds from that we could tell that some of your competitors have comment threads on their page,
Gotcha.
which, by the way, is a great way to grow your match counts.
Oh yeah, with comments.
Yeah, when you have a page about carrots and people talk about carrots and leave comments about carrots, over time your match count for carrots just goes up and up and up.
Yeah.
And some of the most extreme cases, like when I find pages that have 10,000 matches on their page and they're on page one of Google and they have a 15 megabyte web page of content. Oftentimes, it's a runaway, non paginating comment thread where people were just aggressively talking about the target keyword.
Gotcha.
And because of cases like that, it's why Google has to manually penalize keyword stuffing to this day, because that runaway comment thread is technically not a violation of the guidelines. It might be bad programming, but it's not a violation of the guidelines as long as those comments were, honest and genuine and on topic and helpful.
Right.
And because of that, you can have a page that's 15 megabytes with a runaway non-paginating comment thread that gives you 10,000 matches per page, and that appears to help you rank.
That's crazy.
But yeah, when you look at the data every day, you start to see the extremes and you see the common cases. So it's a good thing to constantly be looking at this type of measurement data.
Right. Okay. Well, look at this. So I did. So here's the difference. The problem is I should have kept this like the variable the same. On this new one, I actually changed the crawl to the 100 domains and the LSIs to 10 instead of or one, I think.
Well, it looks like on the first one you didn't have off page running, and now you do. So you have a
Yeah.
lot more factors in your roadmap because you enabled the off page.
Yeah. So also that. So it would have been nice to kind of keep these the same, but
Well, that's all right. The ones that correlate the same, they're just in a different spot on the list, and over time the list can change. So
right.
they'll correlate differently. New factors will come in, some other factors will phase out. And that often happens when Google makes changes to the algorithms or when websites are also aggressively SEO tuning, so the results change. And because those websites move up or down, it changes the correlations.
Right. So this is crazy. We added a bunch more images, and now it's saying add 99 more images, and we already added a bunch from the initial 50 they were saying to add.
So yeah, if the SERPs for this keyword are volatile, then somebody else might have moved in who has a ton of images. So we'd have to monitor, probably in the results tab, see who the movers and shakers are between the two files.
So somewhere in the search results, there's somebody with a bunch of images.
Yep.
Huh. Okay. And then all of this stuff's pretty self-explanatory. Is basically just get links, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, let's see. They have the referring domains at the top, which is very interesting because referring domains to be at the top had to correlate stronger than backlinks overall.
right.
So that's its position in the list is very interesting. And for a long time in Google Search Console, Google would show you your number of referring domains. They like coded that into Google Search Console, and they wouldn't do that if it was pointless and meaningless.
Right.
So, it's not necessarily getting, 57,000 links from two domains. Might be better to get one link from 100 domains instead.
Okay, gotcha. And then Ahrefs rank, what does that mean? Ted, you there? Did I lose him?
No, I'm still here.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. It looks like it froze for a bit.
oh. Do you
All
know
right. What's that?
what's Ahrefs rank?
That's their overall indicator of how well you should perform in Google. If everything is firing properly in Ahrefs systems, and if Ahrefs really understands what Google is doing to make things rank better,
Right.
that should correlate strongly. And the fact that it's number 2 shows us that Ahrefs' understanding of ranking factors, as well as the critical mass of their databases, is sufficient that they can, in general, for big websites, uh, tell which ones should be ranking where.
Okay.
So in this case, it's saying that, yeah, Ahrefs rank is correlating strongly with Google's rank position, and you want your score in Ahrefs rank to go up 20 more.
And the way you go up in Ahrefs rank is usually by links, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't tune for that one. I would view that one as a trust signal that Ahrefs data appears to be pretty good for this keyword.
Right. Okay. What about Ahrefs total share?
The total shares is social signal, so they're talking about total shares across social websites.
Okay. So that's
So
part of the social signal portion. This gets pulled from Ahrefs.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And then median shares, that just has to do with the site median.
Yeah, it's the median share count. And Ahrefs data is weird in that regard. They don't always have different values in those fields, and I'm not sure why. Um, but when the median equals the total, I would consider them both to be the total.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just a quirk in the Ahrefs APIs, maybe.
Gotcha. So yeah, it looks like we fixed the LI tac matches. It's at 0.6 now. Uh, Ahrefs images. That's kind of weird. What's that?
So that's the same thing as number of images on page, but it's coming from the Ahrefs data set instead of the Cora measurement.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so this is all very similar stuff. LinkedIn share. Holy cow, 800. Bing page count. What does that mean?
Uh, the overall size of your website. So
Oh, gotcha.
Bing lets you pull that data without CAPTCHA challenge.
Nice.
So if you need a ballpark estimate, it's saying you should add 180,000 more pages, which is typically not actionable. So,
Okay.
and if you can't do it, then you just got to move on to the next factor.
What are these two, Ted? Number of forms, number of meta generator tags.
So forms is web forms on the page. So if it's an insurance site, that might be, your quote calculator, your loan payment calculator, things like that. Could be login forms, could be searches, could be. So the number of interactive forms on the page.
Okay.
The meta generator tag is often put in by like WordPress. So it's a meta tag that says, this website was, built with. And so when I see that there, it usually means that people are going with, an off the shelf CMS instead of building a custom website.
Right.
So it's common for bloggy keywords.
Nice. Okay. So I got all of those. Maybe we could just go through a couple more of these tabs and we could call it a day. I just wanted to get a little bit more information from you.
Sure.
So I think I got most of these. The cool thing is it has those explainers, but sometimes the explainers are kind of hard too.
Yeah.
But they are helpful and they make sense once you kind of understand what the stuff means. Which, by the way, if you guys want to watch the video on this stuff, Ted came out with a video.
Yep, very true. So
yeah,
what we have here, if you scroll to the top of this data table, your Trek domain is in yellow. So that's the website that the roadmap was tuned for.
right.
And any of the numbers in red mean they have a deficit. They're below the practical maximum. The practical maximum, which is 2 columns over, is determined by finding the largest value from results 1, 2, or 3 in the page 1 average. So whichever one of those 4 things is largest becomes the practical maximum. And so that way we're always tuning towards the top of page 1. And so your deficit is just the practical maximum minus your factor measurement in that yellow column. And the roadmap data is exactly the same as the deficit column. So there's no magic here. It's all measurements, and all we're doing is subtraction off of the measurements to figure out what you should be doing compared to your page 1 competitors. Now the orange is the correlation coefficients. And these tell you how strongly do the factors correlate with rank position in Google. And the orange ones were statistically significant. So when you see the orange, you know it's a strong, statistically significant correlation. And the reason they're negative is that as you approach number 1 on Google, a normal SEO factor would have bigger and bigger measurements. So if backlinks, for example, is the factor, as you approach number 1 on Google, you would want to see the backlinks measurement go up and up and up. And so when you plot that, so the measurement of the factor on the y-axis and the Google ranking on the x-axis, it produces a line with a negative slope. So it goes downward to the right. And that's why those coefficients are negative. They describe the slope of the trend line. But you don't need to know all that. All you need to know is that the orange ones are the ones you want to look at and give consideration to.
So if you start going like towards the top, so you're in the top 3, and you started using Cora like to run your results and fix things like on your on page 2, would you want to run it again then?
Yeah, you'd absolutely want to keep running and seeing how the deficits change, and you want to maintain an archive over time of your Cora output files for your important keywords. Because if there ever comes a day where there is a significant algorithm update, you can compare today's file with the file that was pulled before the algorithm update and look at which factors are correlating differently.
Oh, that's
and those are the factors that were hit by the update. So it tells you what to do different.
That's so cool. Have you found anything interesting around that yet, Ted? Like things that have been happening lately?
Well, the interesting thing is once you have that archive for at least one of your critical keywords, you don't have to worry about all the update chatter.
Right.
I go in and say, well, my ranking's unchanged, so and the factors that correlate are unchanged. So I don't need to care. It's probably a web spam or something. It didn't affect me. You get to start not caring about almost all of the algorithm updates.
Right.
So instead of being on Search Engine Roundtable, joining the hundreds of commenters every other week on update chatter, you could actually be doing SEO instead.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, let's just skip through these. We'll finish it up right now or pretty soon here. So the charts I was looking at, I didn't really get these that much. If you could explain these at all, or do I even need to look at these?
Well, they look different than on my Excel. Oh, you're looking inside of Google Docs. That's why.
Hold on 1 second. Somebody's at my door. 1 second. Hello?
Mr. Chase?
Yeah.
He just, yeah.
Cool.
Mr. Chase, that's yours.
Thank you.
Thank you, bud.
All right. Sorry, I had a package just get delivered.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah.
In Excel, they do the curve smoothing in the chart, so it makes a bit more sense with that on. But these are the correlation charts. So these show you the graph of the factor measurements. So on the x-axis, you have the page number on Google. So going from page 10 to page 1. And then on the y-axis, you have the average factor measurement by page. So you can see the graph of the correlation. And you can see that a lot of these strong correlations have a negative slope on the graph and a negative correlation coefficient. So if you wanted to see the graph of the correlation, this is where you can do that. And a really good way to use this is when you get into local. Like if you have a plumber that has 4 service areas, you can pull the factors that you're most concerned about now in each of the 4 service areas and compare all 4 of them side by side. And you can show your customer why it's going to take more time to rank in one city versus the other because the degree of tuning for that locality is so different.
I guess I'm still kind of confused. Like, so all of these different graphs are correlating with different things, and I just can't see it or something?
Yeah, if you look right above each graph, it tells you the factor name.
Oh, see, there we go.
Yeah, but Google Docs does weird things to the spreadsheet.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
There we go. If I just bring that open, there we go. Now I can see. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes way more sense. I was looking at these graphs. I was like, why do they all just say Ahrefs? And I don't understand like why it can't like. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. All right. So you said that those are the pages, and these are this. What were these? The
Average measurement by page for the factor.
Gotcha. So like the occurring average, right?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Zones. Uh,
Zones is a pivot of the overview data. Very few people use the zones page. It's good if you have an absolutely mammoth website and the only way you can do SEO is by setting policy for teams of like product loaders or article writers and things of that nature. So
okay.
this gives you the data to say, okay, do your headings like this, do your paragraphs like that, etc.
Like for instance, we could have like Chase right here and just like copy him for like these 8 things or something.
Well, no, if you want to say we can't do SEO on a page by page basis because it's database and application driven. All we can do is give guidelines to the people writing the articles on,
Oh,
the New York Times. So we want your heading tags to have the search term in the heading. Uh, you know, ideally as a leading match. Your uh, paragraph should use the match terms ideally 7 times.
and
If you're setting policy, you can get to hints at that policy data from this view.
you're just basing this like off a general keyword.
Well, it's based off of the match words from the overview tab,
Right,
but
right.
we're looking at it instead of by the factor and the ranking on the page. We're looking at the measurements instead by the zone of the page and the type of match. So it's
Gotcha.
just a pivot of the same data, and its intended purpose is for setting policy.
Okay. All right.
Yep. And then the LSI keywords. So up at the top, we have the typical LSI data points. So the number of pages that had the word, the maximum number of occurrences on a single page for those pages that had it, the average occurrences on a page for the pages that had it, and the total number of occurrences. So those are the typical LSI measurements. We have the correlation coefficients. So we tell you how having this term on your page correlates with rank position. So we're probably the only tool on the market that does the LSI correlations. And we also do the measurements. So we had the measurement data that you just moved, which is how many times you add each term on your page.
Oh, sorry.
And
Deficit.
and the deficit, so how many more times you need to use it to match the page one average.
Yeah, I did this. I did this before when I was doing the original optimizations from the last one, and I just moved the deficit over, and then I just looked at it from here. I was just like, okay, I need to mention this, I need to mention that, and I just started putting it in there.
Yeah, and I don't do all of them. I kind of like scan the list and look for the ones that make a lot of sense and do those.
Yeah, like the ones where it says the, like obviously that's not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. So
But
yeah, I would find, and then I usually stop when I get to the ones that didn't correlate significantly.
yeah, what I did is I was just going and going by filtering like the top like most occurring terms that I saw. Whoops, sorry, descending like that. Um, and then so you can see here, like I would look at like stuff like this where it was like there were the really large deficits.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Because that way it just made it easier. I was just like, okay, what are the top like deficits here? Like obviously I need to mention that more. Need to mention that more. Um, one of the things I wanted to ask about though, Ted, was like the Spearman's thing. What is that?
Those are the correlation coefficients, and academically, Spearman's is good for correlating things that tend to trend in curves, and Pearson's is really good at correlating things that tend to trend in straight lines. And from one factor to the next, we never know if it's going to trend in a curve or a straight line. So we do both. And then the best of both is, if we find significant correlation in either, we call it out in one single column.
And you're saying the lower the score, the more important it is?
Well, a correlation coefficient ranges from -1 to +1. And for SEO factors, you want them to be strongly negative, because that means the more of the factor you have, the closer to #1 ranking you get to. So if you had a strongly positive correlation coefficient, that means the more of that factor you have, the worse you rank.
So like if it was a really large coefficient, Spearman's score, then I would want to like mention it less.
Well, if it was very positive, then yeah, you wouldn't want to use it, because the more you use it, the worse you tend to rank.
Gotcha.
But if it's very negative, then you do want to use it, because the more you tend to use it, the better you appear to rank.
That's an interesting question though. Like, does this look at over optimizations too?
No. For over optimization, I mean, how do you set the threshold? I know that there are theories on, don't go beyond 2 standard deviations of the mean for keyword density, and but I would wager that Google can't calculate all that for every page on the internet. I mean, obviously academically they could, but just the amount of CPU cycles to do that much word crunching on every page and then to store that data somewhere.
Well, for instance, we just had, all of these keywords on one, or sorry, let's say we had the page that was ranking on the first page that I just SEO'd, and we just put, white hat in it 1,000,000 times. That page would obviously, go majorly down in rankings.
Well, yeah, obviously the 1994 definition of keyword stuffing, where you repeat the word back to back to back to back, is probably covered by the algorithm. But the truth is, there's a lot of places on your page where you can put a keyword where it isn't back to back to back. And so the truth of the matter is that people do over optimize. And the places where I see people going beyond 2 standard deviations of the mean for keyword density are the easy ones to find are the high volume single word search terms. Then you find people using the single word search terms thousands of times per page, things like games. So when you look at terms like that, it becomes this case where, okay, here's a website that's using it 1,500 times. And most of us have seen the Matt Cutts video where he talks about keyword stuffing, and he says, the more you use it, the better you tend to rank. But there comes this point of diminishing returns where if you keep using it, then the worse you start to rank. And so Matt Cutts made this video, and so I started taking measurements. I started looking. But if the point of diminishing returns isn't at 1,700 times on page, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. What's the point of diminishing returns? Is it at 3,000 times per page? And if I've found pages on page 1 that use the term 10,000 times on the page, I mean, it's just so absurd. I mean, where do you set the limit? And the fact of the matter is that number, how many times per page, it changes from one keyword to the next. It's totally dependent on your cohort of competitors. So if you're in an arms race with your competitors, that number is going to ratchet up quickly. Or if
like 10 players come in and they're all writing 30,000 word content, right?
Yep. So the question is, what is that number? And if it's different for every single keyword, then odds are it's probably not even being calculated by Google at all.
That's crazy. Yeah, I guess it really is based by the keyword, because if a lot of people are keyword stuffing and there isn't long form content that's really able to, I guess, dilute that keyword stuffing, then people are going to be able to get away with it in a certain niche where they wouldn't be able to put, like, it 3 times in another niche that might be local or something.
Yeah, and the other piece of telling information is that if it was handled by the algorithm, why does Google have to manually penalize it?
Right.
There must be way too much collateral damage to do it algorithmically.
Right. Yeah. Well, maybe they'll be able to do that in the future, but I guess not now. All right. Cool. So then we just got results and debug, and I think you already told me the results are just the search result, and then debug, I think, is a guess for.
Yeah, that's if you have problems and I need to figure out what's going on.
That's cool. Sweet. All right, Ted. Well, that was pretty much all I wanted to know. I think I can happily go into part 3 of this next time and keep optimizing the page. Hopefully, hit the first result in the near future, and that would be a really cool case study, I think, for both of us.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Let me know if you need more help.
All right, I will. And we had a couple questions before we go, Ted. One person asked for the link to the video that you had explaining this different stuff. I'll leave that in the description for you guys. We had Bob Marks asking, let me just go over it. Well, I have it on my phone. He said, one thing I run into using Quora is the lookup adding locations. Do I need to load my keyword hit lookup and add a CIT hit lookup again, then run report? Sometimes I get a roadmap half the time. I don't know and sure what I'm doing wrong.
Well, if you continue to have trouble, use the contact form on the website, and I'll help you out personally. But when using the location, the near button, you conduct your search, and then you do near. So you could say near Los Angeles, and you'll see it change. You'll see the ads on the local ads on the page switch to the new location. But in general, what you want to do when using Quora is first, make sure you have your track domain set properly. Second, run the search. Third, if you're going to use near to localize to a city, then do that. Then run the software. Then hit the get data button.
Sweet. Cool. And if any of you guys want this tool, Quora, we will have a discount link in the description of this video. Should have said that in the beginning, but yeah. All right, cool, Ted. Thanks for coming on, and I know everybody, including myself, appreciates your time.
Thank you.
And for making this awesome tool.
You're welcome.